Alright, this has been a video that I've been wanting to make for a long time, and I'm already going to change my position right here. I'm sorry to everyone who lives near me. I am doing this at 1:12 a.m., so I don't think any of them are up that would usually be watching this, but they will see it after. 1 second. And I'll probably be making a part 2. So, oh, hi, whoever Jenica that is. You're either up late or you live somewhere else, so you can comment where you live. I'm interested. Like country or whatever. I have a lot of questions, have had a lot of questions about my ketamine infusions, and because it happened. So, I have a list right here on my iPhone, on my notes. You can't really see, but I have a list, and I'm going to go through them, and let's see how long this takes. If it ends up being long, I will make it into 2 different videos. Oh, you're in New York, so you're just up late. Yeah. Alright, the first question are, what are ketamine infusions? So, ketamine infusions are infusions, which means it is a liquid thing that you either get through an IV or I get it in my port of ketamine. The next part, that's kind of a bad answer, but they're used for chronic pain and depression. I'm not sure if there's anything else, but that's what I know of right now that ketamine infusions are being used for. How do they work? What do they do and how do they work? I know this on a very, very basic level because it's really confusing, and I want to do some research into this question because I just don't know the answer to everything. But it's really hard for me to read on my phone and look up articles. So basically what I can say is, what they do is they help to relieve chronic pain, especially neuropathic pain. And they can also help to get rid of or help make depression less on a person. How do they work? I really don't know. I know they focus in on a part of the brain. It has to do with your brain and rewiring your brain. And I remember on the first infusion that I went to, the doctor was saying the first session is really rewiring your brain and getting you used to the ketamine. So I don't know scientifically this binds to this and the receptor, and my doctor could say that. Maybe if I do some more research on that, I can really explain that in a different video. For right now, that's really all I can do. So I'm sorry to whoever asked that. Next, has the one infusion continued to hold back the pain, and will you be doing more on a scheduled basis? Well, I did not have one infusion. The way you do it, this is common. I'm not saying this is the only way you do it, but this is the way we did it, the way that happens at the ketamine center that we went to, is they do it in a set of 5 infusions every day. Well, okay, not 5 infusions every day, 1 infusion for 5 days in a row. So, I had my first one, and then we saw how how I reacted. Then the second day, and so the first one didn't do anything. I still came back in with my regular pain, and then we were okay, and we upped the dose, and we kept going. We wanted to start low, then go too high. And next part, so the first infusion did not work to hold back pain. I think we'll get more there later in the questions. But that's pretty I don't know if I'd say normal, but expected, because we were starting at a low dose and I've had pain for so long that I kind of expected that I would need a higher dose. The second part of the question is, will you be doing more on a scheduled basis? I will be doing more, but not on a scheduled basis because it's all up to my body. When I feel the effects wearing off, that's when I need to call in to a ketamine center and say, hey, I need to come in because it's wearing off. And he said, some people are good for a month. Some people haven't come back for 6 months. He said one person, I gave them their last infusion, they didn't come back for a year. So it's very, very different. Where did you first hear of ketamine? I heard of ketamine. I don't know why there's a... Oh, did I miss Global Expressions? Can you repeat your question? Because I just got a question mark. Unless that's just what you sent. I might have not been looking down where the comments are coming through. Where did you first hear of ketamine? I heard of ketamine from myself, the internet really, but when I was only 17. Yeah, 17. I was a senior in high school, and I was desperate for pain relief. Vagomegalitis? Now I do not have that. Girls are weak, the most they could do. What? Okay, I'm not gonna listen. I'm not gonna read these out loud. Anyway, I was just researching ways to what I could do for my severe pain. And I already tried so many medications and so many therapies, and I didn't try acupuncture yet at that point, but then I did end up trying acupuncture and more things after I was 17. But one thing I found while I was researching, like nerve pain, chronic nerve pain, how to reduce nerve pain, all these things, was ketamine infusions, and it really got me interested. So I started watching videos about it on YouTube, and I told my mom this was something I was very interested in. And ketamine is not bad for you. It is bad for you if you use it if you use it recreationally. It's just like saying Vicodin is, well, if you use it as a street drug and you abuse it, any drug is bad for you. But there are lots of drugs and medications that are very helpful to people. So this is not abusing a medication. This is using it for what it is made to do. That's all I'm going to say about that. So I just kept looking it up, and we just never got across to it. Things kept going up and up and up and up, but I was still pretty persistent on the ketamine. And finally this year, when I was 21, so 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 4 years later, I got the ketamine. So, worked. That I got to do it. What made you know that ketamine was right for you? I didn't know. I didn't know what was gonna happen, if it was gonna be good, if it was gonna be bad, if it was gonna. I just thought that it was a really good idea, and I researched it a lot, and I thought that I should try it. Hi, Sophie. Wherever you are in this world. So I thought it was something I haven't tried, and why not at this point, because everything else has failed. And because it's something really known for helping nerve pain, and there are so many things that don't help nerve pain, and nerve pain is the hardest pain to treat, so that was very, made me think that it was a really good idea to try. The pros, I live in upstate New York, you're up late too. Pros of ketamine. Well, it can provide a lot of pain relief to people with neuropathic pain, whether it's from an illness like me, like Lyme disease and tick-borne diseases and autoimmune encephalitis and brain and spinal cord issues, or if it's from a car accident or another accident or another illness that gave you chronic nerve pain, or if you're diabetic and you have chronic nerve pain, because it's common with diabetics, it can be very, very helpful for depression and just general, I don't want to say general mental illnesses because that's way too general, but other mental illnesses that aren't just depression. Depression is just the main one that they talk about all the time. Cons, if any. There are definitely cons of ketamine. It can be hard to get a hold of, meaning that not every state and area just has a place to go for ketamine that specializes in ketamine. Now, all anesthesiologists can get places that allow them to do ketamine. Like my old anesthesiologist, she wanted to put me on ketamine, and the hospital would not allow her to rent a room. So we couldn't go with her, so we went to a different place, and luckily there's one really close to where I live. The other big con is that it is very inexpensive. No, that would be nice. It's very expensive. It's not covered by insurance. I've never heard of any place that has been able to cover it by insurance, so maybe there are some exceptions, but it wasn't covered by insurance for us. You have to pay out of pocket, and for me it was 5 days in a row, the first shot. I'm not going to say how much it was, but it was an arm and a leg. So if you can't afford it, you most likely won't be able to get it. So that's definitely a con of ketamine. How expensive was it? I'll just say thousands of dollars. What did it feel like going inside of you? Well, when I first, you feel a lot of out-of-body experiences, and they're really hard to explain. Every day I had some different experiences, but I just started to feel when I first, because it took like at least 10 to 15 minutes for me to feel anything. The first 10-15 minutes of it going through, I was still talking and being normal, but then I would say, I think it's starting to kick in now, and you just felt like you felt the drug going through you. So you could just tell there was a difference, but I can't really explain it, which is hard. How did your family feel about it? They were excited, but they were nervous because I've had issues with anesthesia before, with like having problems walking afterward, and it would always come back, but ketamine can cause a lowered seizure threshold, and I did have seizures, like 2 seizures during my ketamine infusions, so they were worried about that. They were worried if it wasn't going to work, all those basic things of like being a parent and wanting their kid to do well. But I mean, I was super excited about it. I wasn't really more worried about if it would work. I was just like, well, if it doesn't work, then we're back to where we are now, but if we don't try, we'll never know. Would you recommend it to a friend if they needed it, in your opinion? Hello, Pat. Tell me where you're from, if you're up at 1:26 a.m. or not. I would, random questions. Well, I'm doing questions about my ketamine experience, but you can leave a question there, and if it's appropriate, I will answer it. If they needed it, in your opinion, would I recommend ketamine to a friend? Yes, I would, especially because I know of a place that I really like and trust. It depends on the person and the kind of pain they have, and I would definitely say like to try other things first, because ketamine's kind of a last resort thing. It's kind of like you don't just have brain surgery before you try A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. So if you haven't tried neuropathic drugs yet, or what else did I do? Lots of neuropathic things, natural remedies, acupuncture. If you didn't try all those things first, I wouldn't just say go for ketamine. I would say try these things, because lots of people do have success with Lyricas and the Cymbaltas and Elavil, but that just wasn't it for me. But I would recommend it if it came down to that. Would you do it again? Absolutely. I had nothing but a positive experience with ketamine, and I'm very thankful for that. Do you see results yet? Now, this kind of sucks. Now, I'm going to make this in a different video. Yes, I do see results. It took to the 5th day of ketamine, so the last day, and I was like, here we go. We went from 90 milligrams the first day, and the last day was all the way up to 300 milligrams, so I was kind of like, really hope this works, and it's a 4-hour infusion each day. They just increase the dose, they don't increase the time. And my pain, this was on, what day? It's been like, just like a week and a day or something like that. My pain completely went away. Like, my headache went away, all my nerve pain went away. It was literally a whole new world. So, that, I haven't not felt pain since I was 12. How many years is that? It's like counting my fingers. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 9 years. So I really don't know what it's like to live without it. So it's pretty much been the best week in my life. Did you bring Sonoma? We brought him the first day. Then, after we realized how small the rooms were, which was fine, he had plenty of room on the side, but the big thing was the bed I was on was it was a little bigger than a dentist's chair, but it was kind of that style. It did go up and down like a hospital bed, but it wasn't the size of a hospital bed. And Sonoma and I could barely fit on a hospital bed, so I really wanted him to come up and cuddle me, but he couldn't fit on there. Like, there was just room for me. So after that, and he just had to lay down for 4 hours and hang out, and he couldn't like help me or just like snuggle me, we kept him home the other infusions. How long was it? Each infusion was 4 hours. What did I do to keep myself entertained? I brought some things. I brought my iPad because I kind of thought that I would be watching YouTube most of the time and then fall asleep. That was my, not really plan, but that was my vision of what I thought was going to happen. And like maybe listen to some music. I tried using my iPad the first day and I found it really hard to use. As in, I didn't know like what buttons to press. And then I wasn't focused into what I thought I was going to watch. I watched The Fry Life on YouTube, and I actually stopped watching their videos for like a whole week. And now I'm way behind because of that. Because I thought, I'm going to binge watch The Fry Life while I'm there, and that'll keep me busy for 4 hours every day while I'm at ketamine. Well, what I was interested during my normal life while I'm not under the influence of ketamine was completely different than what I was doing during ketamine. I didn't want to watch YouTube. I didn't want to watch Netflix. I didn't have like the patience to listen to that. I wanted to play games. I hate games. I was like this different person. I wanted to play like verbal games. Like we were rhyming back and forth. We were playing like think of a place, and then you have to ask yes or no questions, and you go around in a circle. It was all verbal things. I would not shut up. I wouldn't stop talking. So there was no sleeping during these infusions for me, which is what I thought was going to happen. I thought it was going to be out like IVIG, I'd talk for a couple minutes, and then the Benadryl kicks in and I'm out. No. Some people, chill out. It depends on the person and just how they react, but not me. So I think I brought the iPad for 2 days, and then after that I just brought my phone. Where are the people? Well, I'm doing this really late, so my friends and people who would normally watch this are sleeping at a normal time as they should be, because otherwise I know my friends would be interested to watch this. Were your parents nervous or happy for you? They were nervous in the beginning, like the first day, because they didn't know what to expect. Once they noticed it was a positive experience and I was fine, they were happy, and they weren't nervous for the rest of the days. Is the ketamine infused through the PICC line? Well, I don't have a PICC line. The PICC line is a central line that goes in your arm. Yeah, I like to stay up too. I'm a late, what's it called? Not an early bird, a late night owl. I don't have a PICC line. I have a portacath right here. It's not accessed right now. I did access it the day before I went in to get my infusion, my first one. I kept it accessed the whole week, and I did get my infusion through my port, which was really nice. Would you be willing to experiment with other treatments while on ketamine? Well, not at the same time, but while doing ketamine, yeah. I mean, it depends how well it works for you. I mean, pain treatments, like, since ketamine has been really great, I don't need, like, it's like the occasional Advil. But I guess, yeah, I would be willing to experiment with something else, but it wouldn't be like anything crazy. Like, I still get things from my naturopath and basic things. This question is from my best friend, Kira. That's funny, because mom's cancer at a port in the same spot. I don't know who that person is. Yeah, this is a common spot for ports to be on either side of your chest. And one's right side of my chest, right under my collarbone, which is right here. So this question is from my best friend, so that's why it's a crazy question. I'm a very big fan of Josh Groban and his music, and my friend and I are actually going to Josh Groban as a birthday present for me later this year. So she said, how much did your love of Josh Groban increase from all that singing? If you look on my YouTube videos, you can see me singing. I'm kind of like, oh. I did try to sing. It was hard because my speech was really delayed. But I did try to sing Josh Groban, and I was very into him there, and I kept talking about Josh Groban, and I think the doctor must have been so annoyed. Because I kept saying, like, I'm going to a concert with my friend Kira. I'm going to a concert with my friend Kira. We're going to see Josh Groban. Do you want to hear a song of Josh Groban? Do you want to hear this song? And I made him listen to, like, songs, and made him listen to songs of Jackie Evancho, and I made him listen to, like, watch an 8-minute video of Jackie Evancho, and he stood there the whole time. Also, if you haven't noticed, I remember everything that happened. I wasn't sure how that was going to be either, but the first day, I will say, is one of the first things I said, because I was, like, making random noises, is that I felt like I had Tourette's, because I was saying and doing random things, and I knew I was doing them, and I was aware of them, but I couldn't control them. So I remember everything, but I couldn't say, oh yeah, why I did that. You just do. Are there any this is a really good question, pre or post medications given? Yes. For me, they gave me Zofran, oral Zofran, because it can make you nauseous. And if you were more nauseous during it, which I was luckily to not be, they could give you more Zofran, like, as needed kind of thing. Or a different drug for nausea. And they gave me Versed, which is also a crazy hands. Like lots of people have first said for, I believe this is right, in higher doses for endoscopies and small procedures like that, to go under, and that helps lower the side effects. So I had some Versed and just the nausea medication. There weren't any post-meds or fluids or anything. What is your current infusion schedule for ketamine? There isn't one. We will talk to the doctor when the time is needed. How long does it usually take for you to snap out of your loopiness and feel normal again? I feel like I didn't talk a lot about the side effects and other things I did. I would do like I asked my doctor to adopt me. I thought I was going to the equator. I told him that I was going to go on his trip with him. He was going on a trip to visit his family out of the country, really far out of the country, like in Asia. And I told him I was coming with him, and I told him I was packing my bags, and how much should I bring, and what time should I be there for the flight, and all these, and he answered me all these questions, and obviously I'm not going with him, but, yeah, I was sometimes I would just, like, start waving my arms and my legs. My mom was like, "So Cass, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm just having a good time," and, nothing was, like, negative, like, I was never scared. My vision, that was kind of annoying, because I don't have great vision anyways, but doubled a lot. And literally, like, I have my phone on the highest font you can have, that I know how to do, the largest font. I had to squint, cover one eye, because that helps. I'm sorry I didn't watch any of the ketamine vlogs, but it sounds like you were looping into crazy things. Yes, I did. You can watch the ketamine videos in my channel, because they're the most recent videos. Some of them are pretty entertaining, and some of them I'm playing, like, games in them and asking people stuff, and sometimes... Oh, I started FaceTiming people. Oh. Like, I didn't know I was doing it because I was watching people's Snapchats that they sent to me, like, the day before or earlier, because my friends and I Snapchat a lot, and I was watching them, and then I started FaceTiming the people back, and then, like, one of my friends answered who lives in Ohio, and I was just kind of, like, there, but I wasn't saying anything, and my mom was like, "Cassidy, do this later," and I was like, "Hello, what are you doing?" And yeah, so she made me hang up, and then I accidentally, like, I don't even know what I was thinking, FaceTime my aunt, who I never FaceTime, who was actually staying at my house taking care of the dogs, and then I FaceTimed my best friend Kira, and we actually talked for a while. Yeah, she was not expecting that, and the funniest thing, and we joke about it, because I couldn't really understand, or I was confused, the fact that this was FaceTime, that you're watching someone and you're talking to them right now. I was used to watching her Snapchat, like, videos. She sends me a lot of videos. So I was looking at her, and then I wasn't sure when to talk, and then I was asking about, like, her fish tanks, and I was trying to have a normal conversation, and it's not like you don't understand anything, but things just get confusing, and I said to my mom, I go, "Is this live?" I said, "Am I talking to Kira live?" And she told me after, like, when I was out of the state, she said she tried so hard not to laugh when I said, "Is this live?" Because obviously I didn't know, like, and then after, when I hung up with her, which my mom also had to tell me, like, "Why don't you talk to her later?" I kept asking, "I talked to Kira live? Did I talk to her today? Was that real? Did I actually talk to her, or was that Snapchat?" My mom's like, "No, you actually talked to her." Sure, I watched the other anesthesia, so I don't think I would be too surprised. Yeah, it's different. Like, I've had anesthesia before for, like, surgeries and stuff, and I never had things like this, but, it's always different for every person. And it's not the kind of anesthesia, like it could be, it depends on the person, but that just knocks you up for surgery. Like that wouldn't be, it can be, that's what it's used for a lot for surgery, but not with the dose that I was doing and the purpose I was using it for, because I'd be wide awake and talking, and that wouldn't work for a surgery. You need someone to be out. So, and I was not out. The last question, I'm trying to think of anything else weird I did. Oh, I just wanted to keep singing, which I couldn't sing, which was really funny because I like couldn't hit any of the notes. And I couldn't, my voice was very slurred, and I stuttered a lot. And I thought the room was getting really, really big, and the room was tiny. So that was funny, because I was like, this room is huge, and he was talking about how he wanted to, like, get a bigger building and expand, and I was like, why? You have such a big room. You have so much space. You don't need a different place. This place is perfect. And he was laughing, and I said, you got tall ceilings. The ceilings are short. All this space, all this room. I said, I have these deluxe accommodations. Yeah, some people act like they're really little. I did not act like I was little, except I did talk in a really high-pitched voice a lot of the time. I couldn't control it, and I was like, why am I talking like this? I can't control it. That was like for 4 hours. So I thought the room was getting really big. I'm sure there's a lot that I'm forgetting. So how long does it usually take to snap out of your loopiness and feel normal again? For me, completely normal again, feel pretty normal again, I would say a half hour. Completely normal again, I would say give me an hour, like give me the whole ride home and the time I had like relaxing there before I left. I was wheelchaired out. Yeah, it is funny for the viewers, of course. It's funny for me to watch too, because I'm like, oh, I said that, because I remember the whole experience, but you can't remember every single thing you said, because I was nonstop talking the whole time. I was wheelchaired out. I was the first patient of this center to be wheelchaired out, who I guess didn't come in a wheelchair, because my mom asked, do you have a wheelchair here? And they're like, no. So the way that we responded, it was like, oh, they don't do that here. Like, that's not a common thing. Because with anesthesia, I always can't walk afterwards, because it just affects my brain longer and it doesn't wear off as fast. So this time, since the anesthesia wasn't like completely setting me out, like for my cholecystectomy, which is gallbladder surgery, it didn't take that long, which it took 3 days for me to be able to walk that time. This time it just took me like an hour, but my legs were completely spaghetti. So they wheeled me out to the car. Yeah, apparently people don't need to, and they just walk out fine, but not me. I also was really, really tired afterward. Like, I felt normal, but every day except for one of them, I got home, and the first thing I did was go to sleep, and I slept for like 5 hours. So, that's kind of interesting. The last one is kind of a paragraph with a question at the end, I think. Hi Cassie, I was a Connecticut girl for 50 years. I'm now living in Maine. Ugh. I guess she doesn't like Maine. It's kind of cold there. Desperately trying to find a way back to Connecticut and find some real doctors. I lived in Shelton and had 2 pet stores there many years ago. I asked my doctor up here about ketamine, and he said he'd never heard of it. That's surprising. Yeah, he's supposed to be a Lyme literate medical doctor, ... not. Anyways, anything you can pass along to me so I can convince him to try it for me would be great. I have stage 3 neurolyme diagnosed by Dr. Ligner. He's a very well-known Lyme literate medical doctor in New York, but haven't seen him in years due to the cost because he doesn't take insurance. You're quite funny on the ketamine, though. Keep up the good work. Thank you. So the question is there anything I could pass along? Well, I would make sure that you're telling him or her, yeah, I don't know, him or her, the doctor, about all your symptoms, because if it's not neuropathic pain, ketamine might not be the best answer. Also, for how long it's been going on for. And I would make sure that you have tried many other things before you go to that. Like the medications that you look up, if you look up nerve pain medications, like try all those things before you go to ketamine. Look up holistic, natural ways to help with nerve pain, neuropathy, neuralgia before you go to this. If your doctor's never heard of it, you can print out things and say, this is why I want to do it, A, B, C, D. It's always good when you come in, like if you need a sheet of paper, it always keeps more organized. And I learned this, I do a lot of research on it, and really feel like that's right for you, because I didn't just walk in and say I want ketamine without knowing what it was for and why I should do it. That doctor is probably not able to do it because you need an anesthesiologist, I believe. But that doesn't mean that you can't just go to an anesthesiologist. I always feel amazed how nice the family is and the person's recovering from anesthesia. It could be, I can understand, because I was like, it must be so hard to put up with people who are like, do all the time. Good questions. Thanks. Well, they're not mine, but they're people from Instagram and friends, and I don't remember, maybe Facebook. And leave some more questions in the comments if you want to, and I will answer them. So, yes, for this person, if you did all that research and look into it, see if you can find maybe join a Facebook group on ketamine and talk to other people about their experiences and why they're doing it, and see if it's really right for you, and maybe go to a different doctor, because you said the doctor is an LLND not, so maybe that's not the right place for you. That would be my ideas. So that is the end of the question and answer session. Like I said, if you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments. I'm going to go off live now because it's almost been 40 minutes and it is 1:50 a.m. where I am. So I will come back live later and do more updates and more videos. Bye!